Well, good morning, everyone. I just have a question for you. Can you simplify this in 20 seconds? So if you think you have the answer for it, go ahead and put it into the chat. Let's try that. If you're not sure where to start, put a question mark in the response. All right. So, if anything, let's take a look at what you guys have. So we have negative 2 to the third power raised to the second power. So we just want to know how you can simplify that. So as people are coming on in, let's see what your answers are. Okay, give yourself a second. It's not so much like, oh, I gotta do this and I gotta do that. It doesn't matter what you gotta do, darlings. We have to solve, and we have to solve at a certain pace. Okay? If you're not sure, okay, what's to go on as you guys are checking in, thank you so much for coming on in. All right, I see MC, I see Perky. How are we doing? Come on in. All right, so let's take a look. So we have negative 2 to the third power raised to the second power. So this screams, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Okay, so inside the parenthesis we just have a negative 2. Okay, I'm going to explain it. Then we have an exponent being raised to an exponent. So when you have an exponent being raised to the exponent, they're basically saying that I can multiply my two exponents. Because what's happening if I do the elongated to extended form, it's saying I have this negative 2. It's being multiplied by itself, or to itself, 3 times. That's what that negative 2 raised to the third power is translating. But then, we're raising this to the second power. So that means I am writing this 2 times. So that means I'm going to try to squeeze it on in here, another set of 3 groups of negative 2's, right? So that means I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these negative 2 to the 6th power. Okay, there we go. So if we're talking about negative 2 to the 6th power, so the shortcut, instead of me writing out this extended version, is when I have a power being raised, an exponent being raised by an exponent, you multiply the exponents, because 3 times 2 also gives me 6. But if I want to get the exact answer, I'm going to have to multiply. So here I have a negative 2 times negative 2, that gives me a positive 4. And then I have my, oops, oh, this died on it? All right, cool. And then 4 times negative 2, that gives me a negative 8. Well, if this bracket is going to be negative 8, guess what this is going to be? Negative 8. So negative 8 times negative 8 gives me a positive 64. Okay, positive 64. Okay, so Sammy, did you see that? How we determine the sign? We're taking it step by step. So negative times negative will give me positive. So if we look at it from this perspective, the negative 2 is being raised to the 6th power. Notice the negative 2 is inside of the parenthesis. Because if you just type in your calculator negative 2 raised to the 6th power, it's going to raise that 2 to the 6th power, which gives me 64, and then it's going to tack on the negative at the end. you're not just raising the 2 to the 6th power, you're raising the negative 2 to the 6th power. So that's how you're going to get your signage. Okay? All right. So let's take a look. Okay? Let's see if we can do this 20 seconds. Let's go. All right. Thank you so much for the follows, and thank you so much for spending your Saturday morning with me. Okay? If you're on the West Coast, I know it's early in the morning. East Coast, you know it's after 8. All right. Okay, let's put your answers up. Let's see what you guys have. Okay, let's see what you guys get. Okay. All right. Dally, I see you. Okay. Jasmine, I see you. Okay. All right. Let's see what you guys can get. Raise this up a good amount. Okay, Evans, I see you. All right, Saint, I see you. How'd y'all get 64? All right, Saint, I see you. How'd y'all get 64? I see you. Okay. So now, let's take a look at this. Because again, if you see anything that we're doing here and you're not quite sure how to do it, you can always put a question mark in. Okay? Fascinated by math? All right. That's okay. You don't have to marry it. You know, just take it out once in a while. Maybe give it a kiss on the cheek, but you don't have to get too crazy, okay? All right, so thank you, Daisy. I appreciate you. All right. All right, King Cal, I see you. Thank you. So let's take a look. We have the h of x is equal to negative x squared plus 10. And they want us to find the h of 2. Notice the 2 and the x are in the same spot. So that's telling me I need to substitute all my x's in this expression with the 2. So if I write the h of 2, just as a reminder, so instead of the x, I'm going to plug in a 2. Okay, there we go. So now we have 2 squared, just like what I said earlier. Remember, if we have the 2 that's going to be inside this parenthesis, it's not negative 2 that's being squared, it's just the 2. Just like here, it's just the x. So that means this minus, or this negative, is coming down, but 2 squared, that gives me 4. And then we can bring down our plus 10. So now we have negative 4 plus 10. So if you think about it, the signs are opposite and you're combining them. So if I had $10, since that's positive, I spent 4, that means I still have $6 left. So you have the h of 2 is equal to 6. Okay? All right, so it's just equal to 6. All right, okay, let's try another one. So for this next one, tell me where to start and how would I graph the equation for this line. You're so welcome. Yep, the negative is not inside the parenthesis, it was outside. Good morning, math tutor, how are you? Okay. So with problems like this, everything is referred to y equals mx plus b. Remember that? All right. You're so welcome, Mystic. All right. Y equals mx plus b. So when you're always trying to graph, we're trying to look at this equation of line. Whereas your m is your slope. And slope, we know it as rise over run. Okay, you got to rise out of the bed before you run to the bathroom. Don't worry, you'll figure that out when you get older. Right? And you also have your y-intercept. Your y-intercept is known as your starting point. And this is the part that throws everybody off with graphing. No one knows where to start. Okay, you know about the slope, you know about the y-intercept, but a lot of people didn't know that your y-intercept, that's where you start. So when you're graphing an equation, you always start at the origin. The origin is where these two number lines, that's what we're going to call them as axes. All right, so when the axes intersect, they always intersect at their common point, which is at 0. So it's 0 for the x's and the 0 for the y's. So what you're doing is when they give you an equation, they give you a starting point. So your starting point right now is going to be where? So compare this equation with the equation on the line. Where would I start? Where would I start? Put the number in. Okay, thanks so much for the follows, guys. I appreciate it. All right. Okay, Peyton, I see you. All right, welcome in. Okay, Ale, hello, welcome back. Okay, Ramon. Rami. Okay, Knight, positive 3. Okay, I see the 3. Good, Mr. Happy Pill. See the 3. Araya, I see the 3. Good. Now, I'm going to ask you another question. 3 on which axes? Okay, so a lot of us are saying 3s. Hello, Miss Lewis, how are you? Okay, a lot of us are saying 3. On which axes? That's another thing. Yep, this is why I asked this question. Okay, so Milk, I see you. Mr. Happy, I see you. Roma, I see you. Okay, Araya, I see you. Okay, Knight, I see you. Okay, God is able. Yes, he is. I see you. All right, so on that y-axis, okay, hence the name, y-intercept. So your starting point is going to be on the y-axis, not the x-axis. So if I'm starting here at 0, I'm going to go, since it's a positive 3, I'm going to go up 3 and put my first point. Okay, that's what we're doing. So you start from the origin, and where do I go? Since it's a positive 3, I go up 3 and put my first point. So now from here, I got any kind of movement I do, this is my movement. So if you want to think, okay, you started, and now you're here. This is your home. So now we need to draw the next point. This is when, and now you're here. This is your home. So now we need to draw the next point. This is when you go to slope. And remember, I said slope is over. But in this case, I don't have a fraction. I have a number. So anytime I have a whole number, I need to figure out how to make it into a fraction without devaluing the number. So what I can do is put it over 1. Okay, put it over 1. So anytime you see a whole number, make it into a fraction by putting over 1. So now your numerator is going to be your rise. Your denominator is going to be your run. So from this point, we have to go up 4, 1, 2, 3. Oh, we ran out of room. We could say it's up here to 4, but we're going to be guessing. And then we would go over 1. But since we ran out of room, what could we do? Since we ran out of room, what could we do? If you could take a guess. Because now, if I go up 4, I'm going completely off the grid. Okay? So Knight's saying go down. We have extend. Go the opposite way. What do you mean by this? Because if I go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1, I'm going to have a negative slope. But this 4 is positive. Okay? Get a bigger grid. You don't have that. Say that's not an option. Okay? So for standardized tests, it's going to be the same. Stay at 6 and go over 1. Okay? Why am I going to 6? Okay? Down 4 to the left 1. So if I go down 4, so that would be a negative 4, and to the left 1, interesting, because a negative divided by a negative gives me a positive. So this looks similar to this. So if I go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, but over to the left 1, the reason why I left, because we had a negative 1, I can still get, guess what I found, guys? My ruler. Alright, then you have your line. Yep, and it keeps it positive. Okay? So this is what happens. Understanding the rules of integers, okay? Especially with division. A positive divided by a positive will give you a positive. So that means I'm going to have a positive slope. When I read it from left to right, my grid or my gradient is going in the positive direction. It's going up. But since we ran out of room, and we probably could have figured it about here, you know, if we went up 1 more and went over 1, we probably could have figured something like that. But then we have a negative 1 divided by a negative 1. Knowing the rules about division, when a negative divided by a negative will always give you a positive. And the signs are the same with multiplication or division, you will get the same positive solution. Alright? So that's why you were able to go down 4, but then you had to go over to the left 1 to represent it. Okay? So you just go ahead and graft an equation and line. So if we have this other one, I want to get all my grids out the way. So if we have this one, okay, we have y equals 6x plus 5. Okay, so I have my pen at my origin at 0, 0. But what is my y-intercept? Where do I start? Okay. Where do I start? Okay. Alright, so I think I know ball. Okay, say my y-intersection at 5. Okay, Peyton saying at 5. Woo Woo is saying at 5. Angela, hello Angela, saying 5. I know, sometimes I don't see what you guys sneaking on in here. Alright, so 5V, I see you. Alright, good morning. So, we start at the y-intercept. My y-intercept is positive 5. So here I go, going up to the 5 and putting my first point. But then, my run is positive, right? What's my rise? What is my rise? Okay, what is my rise? Okay, Peyton's saying 6. Wu Square is saying 6. I think it's saying 6. Daisy is saying 6. Sky is saying 1. Okay, Angela's saying 6. Okay, so remember, the number that is the coefficient or next to or adjacent to your x, that's going to be your slope. That's your m. And our slope is over rise over run. So your rise is going to be the numerator, which is great. It's already a fraction, so we don't have to make it a fraction. And our run is going to be our denominator. If the rise is, it can go up or down, so if it's positive, it goes up. If it's negative, it goes down. For the run, if it's negative, you go left. If it's positive, you go right. But we don't have up 6, okay? Completely off the grid. What could we do? Okay, think about what we just learned. What could we do? There you go. Okay. Wu square. Not quite, Ebony. Okay, we're going to go down. Go down and then what? Okay. Go down and then what? Okay. And then minus 5. So we're going to go down. Then we're going to go left. You meant left. There you go, Trish. Okay. So we would go up 6. But here's the thing, Days. We can't go up 6 because we ran out of 6. We're not starting from the origin to go up 6. We're starting for our y-intercept to go up 6. And that's completely off the grid. So this is going to be a case where we're going to have to work with a negative 6 over a negative 5. Because a negative divided by a negative gives us a positive. So if I make the numerator and the denominator both negative, I'll be able to match it onto this grid. So if I go down 6, so that takes me back down to here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then go to the left 5. 2, 3, 4, 5 to make my point. Okay? So if you can't go up, you still can go down. Just reverse everything. Not just the numerator, but also the denominator. Okay? So that's why we need to do these things. So the reason why I come on this platform, because I've been here for definitely over for years, but teaching math content over like a year and a half. Because I noticed that there's a lot of adults that are going back to school or that's trying to take a test to get into the military or their GED, or maybe they want to go back to college so they have to take an Accuplacer to figure out what math they have to go into. And a lot of people are either not doing very well because you're trying to remember the math that you saw when you were a teenager. That's been many moons ago, right? It's okay. I'm old as hell too. So if anything, that's why I come on here to do a lot of these things as a refresher. Okay? But also, like, I am an online math tutor. I also have my own books and also have other resources to help you with all your quests. If you need that assistance, there's a link in my profile. Go ahead and click the link and you'll see like all the books that's there. It starts from the beginning stages, everything that you're going to need so you can be successful in those examinations. All right, so yeah, just to like give you something different on here. Now, before we get to the next one, I want to know a couple things. Since I mentioned all those things, I want to know, so what are you studying for? So if you're going after the GED, please just put a G. If it's the ASVAB, AV, if it's the TEAS test or HESI test, write in a T. If it's the Accuplacer, an A. If you're just reviewing some other examinations, or you're reviewing for algebra in itself, or you're just curious, go ahead, put what you got in here. All right, so good. I'm seeing some J's, I'm seeing some T's, good. because it kind of helps me to be like, all right, this is what I need to look at. All right, awesome. Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Keep putting it in. Keep throwing them up. Okay, I don't know what the C is for. What's the C? Just another option. Okay. All right. Okay, so we have our J's, we have our A's, we have our R's. Okay, good. All right, just viewing for exams and stuff. Okay, good. All right, so for people that wrote T's, make sure you guys are also following a blessed RN. Because she, if you need assistance with doses calculations, this is going to be your person for you. Okay? She is an actual RN. She knows how to break down concepts, knows how to get everything done. So make sure you add her to your list of follows. Okay? Because we all know the dosage calculation is what really gets a lot of people like thrown off. All right? Okay? All right. Now, here we go with this one. And you're like, oh God. I'm like, no. Okay, so this one works for GED, it works for ASVAB. This will be considered like a 4-point question for the GED. For your ASVAB people, this is also, you'll see it in later on, like probably like in the 50s and 60s. Okay, if that's where you're trying to get to. When you see this, how do you feel? How do you feel when you see this? Do you feel confused? Do you feel lost? Do you feel, I think I got it? Or I'm like, this is something that I would naturally skip. You know, like, go ahead. I really want to know. Okay? Cleanliness, thank you. Cleanliness, awesome. Lost. Angela, lost. I got you. Okay? We're watching a lot. Okay. Nice. I'm so glad you got that. Good. Okay, was there, you think you got it? Okay. Perplexed, I got you. Feeling optimistic but not sure. Okay. Skip, thank you for your honesty, because I know a lot of people will say the same thing and they're just trying to be nice. Okay, still, I see you. Days, plug that for that. Do it. Okay, a Russian roadmap. All right. Okay, so this is what happens. So a function is similar to an equation. The function of x, how it relates to the y values. So we're looking at how things go. So your input, which is what's inside the parenthesis, and what you get out of it is your output. But there is a function. It's almost like a function machine. Let me slide this over for a second. So like we have an opening. Oops, I don't know why I did it that way. Ignore that. Okay, lovely drawing. Bob Ross, eat your heart out. So you're putting input in. Then you have a function. A function can be an expression that will give you your output. I'm going to pull this up in a second. I know, this is horrendous. It's a sketch. So you're putting a number into a function, and that function can be an expression. And that expression, you're going to get your output. So you're basically looking for either a number or it can be the expression itself. So say for this one, the only thing we have to look at is this and this. When it comes to word problems, don't let all of the words fool you. You have to kind of look at it almost like a detective, not as a person that's reading a novel, because some of these word problems can get immense. If they give you an equation, it's almost like your crush just gave you a kiss straight on the mouth, okay? It's wonderful. It's a free gift. So what's happening? Notice the x plus 3 is in the same position as the s, okay? So now we're going to have to go into all of this. So we have our A is x plus 3. And what we do is we replace the x plus 3. We replace that s with the x plus 3. Okay? So now from here, we're not looking at this part. So I'll get one of my papers. We don't need that. This is only here to help us to remind us what you substitute in for the x. Now, we're going to simplify this. So this is giving me x plus 3 squared. So this is what a lot of people do. They say, oh, let me square the x, so that's x squared, plus 3 squared, that's 9. Oh, so our answer is x squared plus 9. Boom, done. That was easy. No. Okay? No. So here's my thing. We have this base of x plus 3. So like if I wrote it out as, let's say, 4 to the second power, you know that 4 to the second power is 4 times 4. Okay? That means you multiplied that base to itself 2 times. That's what you're doing here. Okay? You're multiplying it 2 times. All right. Thank you, Ebony. I got you. So, we're going to do distributive property, as long as you guys probably know it as FOIL. Okay, your first, your outer, your inner, your last. I'm going to be truthful. When I was younger learning it, I was confused because I kept misspelling FOIL. And then I'm like, okay, I got the first term, but then which one comes next? This one or that? And it was a hot mess. So what I like to do is say you're going to take the first term in the first parenthesis and you're going to distribute it to everything inside the second parenthesis. Okay? So now you have your x times x, which gives us our x squared, but then x times 3, and it's a positive 3, so it'll be a positive 3x. Okay? Then we're going to take our second term, which is a positive 3, and we're going to distribute that to everything into that second parenthesis. Yes. See, a lot of people know it's FOIL. For me, it's just distributing. That's it. And 3 times 3 gives me 9. So now, hey John, how are you? I've seen you in a couple of days. All right, so now we're going to take our common, our like terms, which is usually right here in the middle. This is the part that you were missing if you were one of those that just squared here and squared there. There's actually a middle term that's involved. So that means what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down my x squared. I'm going to combine my 3x plus 3x. That gives me a 6x, not 6x squared. The reason why, because you're adding. When you're adding, you're just basically trying to find like terms. Same variable, same exponents. Then bring down my plus 9. Okay. Oh, you're back in school. Oh, that's right. Okay. Good. All right. So some of you guys got that. Advanced teacher. Well, thank you. Makes sense? Good. All right. So that's the key part. Think of, even though it's an expression, think of it just like what you would normally do with an exponent. This time my base, instead of it being a whole number, it's an expression. and that's how many times you're going to multiply it, and then you're going to do distributive property. You're looking at the first parenthesis and you distribute it into the second parenthesis. Okay, no problem. All right, awesome. Okay. The question again? Sure. There you go. All right. Okay, got it? All right. Thanks so much for the follow. All right. Simplify this. You're so welcome. Okay. Simplify this. Let's see. Let's see what we get. And again, if you're not sure where to start, not sure how to get it, you're going to put a question mark in the comments. Okay? If you think you got an answer, put the answer and put a follow-up with a question mark. That's perfectly fine. Okay? Okay? Hello, Yusuf. Welcome back. All right. God is able, I see you. My crazy exes, Bubbles, PEMDAS, yes. Okay, God is able, I see you. Yosef, I got you. Is that Jinx Trap? Okay. All right, Ike, I see you. Okay. All right. Patience, my dear. I like for people to give them some time. All right. You don't have to put your answer out multiple times. I see you. The one with all the X's. Okay. Junie, all right. Walter, I see you. Cece, I see you. Okay. All right. So, let's take this step by step. What do you think the problem with learning is today? You already know the answer. What do I think the problem of learning is today? I hate to say it, we're doing way too much testing. But we worry so much about testing, but we forgot to teach kids how to think, or give them moments to think. So, here we are with our famous, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So, working with the parentheses. Also for my international students, you got your BODMAS. Okay? So working inside the parentheses. So we have our 25 minus this 8. I was looking at the minus. Plus 3 over 2. Okay? So now, we got rid of the parentheses. We don't have any exponents. Boom, boom. Treat it like a checklist. And a lot of people will say, okay, well, we should be doing division. But there's the thing. We're going to take the numerator first. Okay? So we're going to actually doing a lot of subtraction up here. Subtraction and addition. Then we can divide by 2. Okay? Take it individually with the numerator and the denominator before we start doing anything else. So that means we have our 25 minus 8. So that gives us our 17 plus 3. Now you got your 17 plus 3. That gives you your 20. And if we can simplify it further, 20 divided by 2 gives us a positive 10. Okay? Yes. From left to right. There you go, Ziggy. Good. Okay, Cher, I see you. Good. Kiss my braces? That's interesting. Good. Alright, so you're just going through the process of elimination. Now, translate this. Okay, translate that. The sum of two consecutive odd or even integers. Because Jalen, you go from left to right. Okay. There is no absolute values. There is no absolute values. I'm like, are you guys okay? These are not absolute values, they're brackets. Absolute values doesn't have these little ticks on them on the ends. Okay. Yeah, they're not absolute values. Okay. How often do I go live? Every day. Alright. So, okay, God is able, I see you. Now, how many people are a little lost and confused of what is going on right here? Be truthful. You can say me. That's perfectly fine. How many people are a little lost and confused right here? Thank you, Maya, for your honesty. Angela, thank you for your honesty. Okay? Alright, The Chosen, thank you. Lit, thank you. Alright? So, this is what happens. Here we go, teaching moment. When you think of your numbers, let's start with 1, 2, 3. I might even take it to 4. Okay? When I want to start at a number, say if I want to get from 1 to 2, I would have to add 1. Right? To go from 1 to 2, I would add 1. Now, if I start at 1 and I want to get to 3, that means from 1 to 3, I would add 2. And if I wanted to get from 1 to 4, if I wanted to go from 1 to 4, I would add 3. Okay? So the starting point is my 1. And how do I get from 1 to 2? I would add 1. How I get from 1 to 3? I would add 2. How I get from 1 to 4? I would add 3. Okay? That is what's called the consecutive integers. So I would have a starting number. That would be the first number. And for me to get to the next number, I would have to take my starting number and add 1. This is how I get the second number. But we're not talking about consecutive numbers. We're talking about consecutive odd or even numbers. So let's take a look at that. So let's do with the odds. So we have our 1, we have 3, 5, 7, okay, and there's more. But let's just work with those. So I'm starting at 1. Okay, this is my starting number. If I want to get from 1 to 3, what do I do? Think about what we did earlier. How do I get from 1 to 3? Okay, Angela's saying plus 2. Do we agree with Angela? Okay, add 2. Nima's following with you. Woo Square is following with you. Good. All right. And yes with mine. Good. So we will add 2. Now, good, Christina. There we go. God is able. Got you. So now, if I want to get from 1 to 5. What do I have to do? Okay, from 1 to 5, what would I have to do? So Nima, add 4. Do we agree with Nima? Yep, M's with you. Add 4. Ma's with you. Woo squared. Add R. Add 4. Okay, thank you. Beauty with 4. Share with 4. Good. Angela with 4. Trisket. Good. So we would add 4. So now, if I want to go from 1 to 7, what would I have to do? Okay, add 6, good, add 6, Beauty beats, add 6, Ebony, add 6, add 6, good, nice, Angela, Nima, woo, good. So we're going to add 6. Alright, so if I wanted to get to the next digit, if I follow this pattern, what should I put here if I want to get to the next term? Okay, add 8. Okay, Stacy, 8. Careful, bro. Okay, bro Roman. Alright, so we got add 8. Good. Good. Ebony, good. Angela. Alright, God's able. I got you. Okay, I got you. Beauty and the Beats, see the pattern. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yes, it's going up 2 every time. So that means, what is this missing spot? What should go here? Oh, that's what you were saying, Jack. Thank you. Okay. Yep. All right. So we got that. Good. So keeping with that, that'll be 9. And isn't 9 the next odd number? Right? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So the pattern that's going on with the odd numbers is that you have a starting number, which could start anywhere, just like what Jack mentioned. So that's going to be my x. But then the pattern is, in order for me to find the next term, I'm going to have to take that x value and add 2 to it. Okay? So that's what's going on. That's what God is able to keep putting down. Okay? So in this case, in order for me, if I started with 1, so for me to find my next term is going to be 1 plus 2, which is 3. That's how we got this. All right? Okay? No, I don't mean 1, because the pattern is doing what? In order for me to go from 1 to 3, I had to add 2. So if I extend it, let me write it down here on the bottom. So the first term is my x. The second term is my x plus 2. For me to get the third term, which is a 5, it's going to be my starting number plus what? Plus 4. For me to find the next term, it's going to be x plus 6. For me to find the next term, it's going to be x plus 8. And it keeps going on that route. Okay? All right? So, we're trying to find the sum of 2 consecutive odd or even integers. So what we did was just the odds, because I don't want to combine things in your brain. I want to simplify it so you have a better idea. The first time that I did this is dealing with the sum, oh here it is, the sum of 2 consecutive integers. That's what this part was. Okay, the sum of 2 consecutive integers. So if I start, say if I did 1, 2, 3, 4, the word consecutive, one after the other. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if it's the consecutive integer, you started at 1. And how did I get from 1 to 2? I add 1. How did I get from 1 to 3? I add 2. How did I get from 1 to 4? I add 3. Okay, so this is for 2 consecutive integers. What we're doing right now, and this is the first part, we did with the odd numbers. Okay, this is where we're working with the 2 consecutive odds. I'm going to do the evens in a moment. So now, let's see if I can find. So that was your odds. Here we go with the evens. So the evens, let's say we start with 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, we'll just do those couple. So if I'm starting with 2, if I go from 2 to 4, what's the pattern? How do I go from 2 to 4? Angela, I got you. Yep. So here's God's able. Let's get people learning. Okay, give them a chance to learn, because a lot of people don't know. So if we just give people answers, they're never going to learn. It's just like when you have a starving person, don't just give them a fish sandwich, right? Don't just give them a hamburger. Teach them how. How can they get this food? How can they fish so they can get their own fish sandwich whenever they want, so they don't have to rely on us to keep giving them a fish sandwich. Okay, right. Give them the seeds. Let them plant. Let them grow. So how do I go from a 2 to a 4? We add 2. Now, how do I go from a 2 to a 6? What's the pattern? Okay. What's the pattern? Going from a 2 to a 6. Okay. Add 4. There we go. Add 4 plus 4. That's it. Add 4. Good. Because we had to do 2 plus 4 to get the 6. So now, how do I go from 2 to 8? Okay, Apple user. Hey, Apple user, how are you doing? Okay, Farah, how are you? I haven't seen you in a minute. Okay, so we're going to add 6. There we go. We're adding 6. Nice. Add 6. Right? So that means if we got a pattern of plus 2, plus 4, plus 6, if I extend this out once more so I can find my next term, what would I have to do? Hey Brenda, how are you? All right. Okay, good. So we'll need to add 8. Yes, because everything in math has a pattern. So if we're adding 8 and we started with 2, we have to add 8 to find our next term. What is our next term? Okay, I see Maya. That's fine. Yes, our next term is going to be excellent, guys. It's going to be 10, right? So this was the evens. 2, 4, 6, 8, now 10. This was the odds. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. What do you notice? What do you notice? I know so many people said it earlier, but what do we notice? Same numbers. I'm going to combine Christina's and TW's answers. It's the same number patterns. So that means if I want to, whatever number I start with, okay, that's my x. For me to find the next number, I have to do x plus 2. And for me to find the next number after that, I'll have to do x plus 4. And to find the next number after that, I have to do x plus 6, and so on. you're doing the same exact pattern scale for odd and or even integers. So this is why we do this. So there's so many times when you sit in math class, and I know I'm thinking it from when I was a kid. Every time I come on live, I think of how would I want my former teachers to teach me. So I said, I want to know why. Why is this pattern working? Like, why did I have to ask for odd or even integers? So I want to see it like this, so I can do that comparison, so it can click in my brain. Because when you guys leave this live, how many times have you guys tried to do something yourself after you saw something on live, and you try to do it yourself, and you're like, oh, shoot, I totally forgot what she said. And then you're like, I can't do it by myself. And then all of a sudden you put yourself in a dismal spiral until you see that person again. And maybe you keep going back onto TikTok, or you go back to YouTube or any other platforms, and you're trying to find that person, and then all of a sudden you can't find them for like a good week. And that's what always happens. Okay, no problem, Christina. No, you're actually doing pretty good with Christina. So it's like, and that's the thing. Everyone assumes that you're bad at math. It's just your experience with math early on. Our brains wasn't ready to receive that much intensity. We weren't ready to receive X is no longer multiplication. Now it's representing a variable. That was huge, because for, I want to say, for maybe 6+ years, that's all you knew X was. It was multiplication. And then all of a sudden this thing called algebra comes in, and there's numbers and letters, and there was no ease into it. It was just memorize this, put that there, do that. And you didn't have anyone to say, the reason why you're doing this is we're trying to get, I don't know, X by itself, if we're trying to figure that out. Okay? Right. Okay? Good. Right? So we just have to do this. Am I here every day? Yes, God willing, because I don't way my life's been lately, Erica, I don't know. The way life has been lifing lately, whoo, ciao. All right, so let's do one more. Let's do one more. And then, okay, let's translate this. Okay, translate this into an algebraic expression. Okay, this one gets like 92% of my students. This used to get a good 92, sometimes 93% of my students every time. You always come late. Well, see, here's the thing. There's replays, people. And then I'll explain where you can go to find the replays. All right? So 7 less than a number. Go ahead and put it into the chat. I'm not going to hold you back. Okay, go ahead and put it into the chat. We need to translate this. Okay, this is one way that we can break down concepts and break down your fear of math phobia and your fear of word problems. Okay, all right. So I see a lot of stuff. Let's see. All right. So I saw John. I have Maya. I have Ale. I have Woo Squared. I have W11. I have Nima. Okay, I have Zap. Hey, Zap. Welcome back. I have Walter, Angela, Cece, Trisket. Okay. Christina. All right. Ebony. All right. Misha. Hello, Misha. Welcome back. All right. Share. Okay. So let's take a look, because this is what gets a lot of students. Now, certain words have certain phrases, okay, or certain operations. Less than, which I'm very proud of all of you for not giving me an inequality, all right? So less than is subtraction, okay? is less than is the inequality. Okay, so since we don't have the word is here, we're not dealing with the inequality. We're just dealing with the subtraction. So you need to know, what are we subtracting? It says 7 less than. That means the 7 needs to carry the negative, that minus sign. And what is it less than? It's less than a number. Now, we don't know what that number is. So you can use any letter of the alphabet except for E and I, because those are actually numbers. So we can use, I don't know, I'll use X for right now. Okay? So 7 less than a number is actually going to be your variable minus 7. Okay? So now let's take it and let's make an extension to it. So let's see if we can do some solving equation or inequality. So we have, I just picked up 4 choices. We have choice 1, 2, 3, or 4. Not A, E. E and I. E and I are actually numbers. Alright. Okay. You think it's boring, Chris? Alright, cool. No problem. But now that you put a comment in, I'm in your algorithm. Good job. Enjoy the suffering. Alright, so we're saying 2s. I have a couple people with 2s. So 1, 2, 3, or 4. Which one do you want? Okay. What they mean. Okay. So I got a couple 2s, got 2s, got 4 and 3s. Okay. Alright, the 2 letters. I know, I gotta get this done first, Farrah, because I'm trying to get things done so I can go to my tutoring sessions. Alright, so if anything, that would be something good to look up, because it'll actually give you decimals. Alright, so Christina, 4s, 3s, and the base is important. Oh yeah, definitely. Hey Lynette. Okay, so looks like a little bit with the 2s. Alright, so let's try this. Boom. Okay, so we're going to extend on this. So how do I translate is less than the number minus 3? Is less than the number minus 3. Okay. Alright. Is less than the number minus 3. Now, if you're not sure how to write that out, remember, you can use a question mark. It's perfectly fine. Oh, is it, Christina? There you go. Is it subtracting? Okay, so Ale, I see you. Ebony, I see you. Mimi, I see you. Okay. Nell, I see you. Maya, I see you. There's a little bit extra to it, Nellie. Okay. Woo Squared, thank you so much for your honesty. Okay. Alright. But Farrah, do you know what a imaginary number is? Okay, so Nima, I see you. Zap, I see you. Alright. So is less than. Okay. Okay, now I got you. Alright. Do you do it right? Okay, so let's look at it. So, is less than. Remember, if they have the word is in front of the less than, that means we're talking about the inequality. So we need the inequality symbol, which is our less than. So what is it less than? The number, so the number that you used, okay, minus 3. So it's going to be my x minus 3. Okay? So make sure it's the other way around, Angela. So less than points to the left. Okay? All right? So that's what we did with the translation. First we started off with 6 less than a number, and then we extended it out. What is less than the number minus 3. So now, let's solve this, if we can. Because sometimes when we write the extensions, we have no idea what's going to come out. So here's the thing. You have your x's on both sides of the inequality. So that means we need to move our x to one side. So I'm going to move it over to the left side. So I have a negative x and a negative x. Because we have a positive x. This minus sign right here is acting as a negative for the 3, not the x. Okay, just like how this minus sign right here is acting as a negative for the 7, not the x. So what happens? Oh, both of our x's canceled out. Because this is going to give me a 0, and this is going to give me a 0. So now what do we have? We have negative 7 is less than negative 3. Oh, okay. There we go. All right. Or it's true. Is that true? Negative 7 is less than negative 3? Okay. Hey, Mel, how are you? Okay. Is that a true statement? Okay. Yes, it is. It is. So since it is giving us a true statement, there is what is called like all solutions. Okay. So if I pick a number in for the x, let's say I pick a 5. Okay. So if I pick 5 to put in for the x's, so I have 5 minus 7, that'll give me a negative 2. Then I have 5 minus 3, that will give me a positive 2. Is negative 2 less than positive 2? Yes, it is. So I can plug in a negative 3. So if I plug a negative 3 for the x, negative 3 plus a negative 7, that'll give me a negative 10 over here. And then negative 3 minus 3 will give me a negative 6. So is negative 10 less than negative 6? Yes, it is. So although we didn't find x, but we have a true statement. So this is going to be all real numbers. And you're like, whoa, what's that symbol? The double R? That means all real numbers. So I can plug in any number. Any number. I can plug in 100. I can plug in 1,622. I can plug in a negative 3. I'm going to get a true statement. The x's are gone. So that means I can plug in any number for these x's and get a true statement. So it's going to be all real numbers. Okay. All right. Okay, so here we go. Before you skedaddle, if you guys, I don't know when you guys came in, all right, so you can go here, go ahead and subscribe. Let's go. Let's look at subscribers. So you can go here to get all of my replays that I've done here on TikTok. If you're like, you know what, I need some practice books, I need some organization, I need you like 24/7. Well, you cannot have me 24/7. Okay? God can. But here's my thing. You can go to my stand store, and if you look at the sometime today, okay, so if you follow me here, oops, sorry, that's a little crazy, but if you follow, brightness, you can see the link right here. Just click on that, and then if you notice, it'll take you straight to my stand store. And if you go here, that's my YT, so you can go and look at the YT account. So if you want to go, you can click there and it'll take you directly to my YT. Go ahead and hit subscribe, and then you can see all of my lives. Okay, where it says TikTok lives. That's where you can go to see all of my lives. Now, also in that stand store, you know, as a quick little freebie for you, if you want to do some practice, you got this free math checkup. Okay, so that free math checkup, so you can see what you need to practice on. Okay, if anything. I know I'm blinding you guys, but we're going to work on that. Okay, so if you go on to, you got the free math checkup, go ahead and take a scroll. If you're interested in one-to-one tutoring, you can, register a call with me just to see if one-to-one tutoring is best for you, or maybe the books that I have is going to work best for you. Okay, so go ahead and scroll. While you're still here and it's still fresh in your mind, you can go and get your free math checkup. I'm sorry, that is like blinding you guys for some reason. And also you can go for the YT. All right. Hey, JB. What if you had used -10 and lower of -3? You can plug in any number for x and you're going to get a true statement. All right? You can plug in any number for x. Okay? So, if you're looking for detailed how to solve word problems, I will be live on my YT channel today at 1 p.m. So I'm going to try to make that more of like, if you need detailed step-by-step instruction, I'm just doing a certain concept each time. I'm going to try it out for like 3 Saturdays. I'm going to do that consistently for this Saturday, basically for the month of August, right? To see if that is something that will help people out. But I'm going to be doing that today at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm going to be working on word problems, breaking concepts down, how to look at it, and we're going to see if we can make that into a series. All right, everyone. So I will catch you guys on the flip side. I'll be here again tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But if you need any assistance, please do not hesitate to reach out and to message me. Okay? That's the only way you can get your questions answered. Go ahead and follow me here on TikTok, but then also send me a message. Okay? Let me know what you're thinking, what exams. A lot of you guys already told me what exams you guys are taking, but when are you taking it? Is it like I need help ASAP, or it's like I got some time? Reach out and let me know. All right? Okay. All right. See, Erica? This is where you can go for the replays. And you can catch up. Not a problem. Binge watch. Binge watch with Audrey. That would be kind of cool. All right, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys either later on this afternoon or I will see you tomorrow morning. Bye now.